The topic is is India the cusp of breakthrough COVID vaccination rollout, learnings and challenges ahead. We have two eminent doctors. We have with us Dr. Amitabh Banerjee, Professor and Head Community Medicine at Dr. D.Y. Patil Medical College, Pune. In his previous role, he also served as Medical Officer Epidemiologist at Indian Armed Forces and Associate Professor Community Medicine at Armed Forces Medical College, Pune. The second speaker who will be joining in a short time is Dr. Sanjay Rai, currently Professor at Center for Community Medicine at the All India Institute of Medical Sciences, New Delhi. He is also the editor of the prestigious World Health Organization Southeast Asia Journal of Public Health. He's a popular figure in media and is known for his insights on current pandemic. And to put it very mildly, his quotes are very infectious. Before that, I would like to announce that we have a special session between Dr. Sudeep Srivastav and Dr. Arora, N.K. Arora, who will be joining later. So if I start with the opening batsman, Dr. Amitabh Banerjee, right from the beginning, you have been saying that kids should be sent to schools as they have better immunity threshold levels and they will be part of a herd immunity story. Do you still hold that view, and do kids need to be vaccinated?
Very much, Mr. Sankar. Thank you for this question. This question we have been discussing again and again. We have experience of other countries. Sweden never closed its school and it never experienced excess morbidity or mortality either among school children, nor did it experience among the teachers also. So that way, it should not have been closed, and I hold this till now.
My other question briefly is Omicron the mother of all variants, especially since it has mutations unlike the constellations that have been previously seen and can escape immunity? Will this be a challenge to India's vaccination rollout?
I don't think that way. Because I was just seeing the data, even in South Africa, where it is supposed to have originated, there is not alarming number of cases or deaths, particularly alarming cases. The deaths today is in 2 digits only, yesterday's figures, and in UK it is in 3 digits. I mean, the size of the country is the same. So I don't see any extra swing with the second new ball. I call it the second new ball because the one-day match has turned into a test match. And we had a first new ball Delta variant. This is the second new ball. So I don't see much swing in this second new ball, firstly. And secondly, what I feel is, I don't see the logic when they say that new variant has come, now you give extra, everybody should be covered with the vaccine. Vaccine is made on a previous variant. I mean, there is no common sense, forget about science. So I don't get it that way. But I still hold that person who has acquired the natural infection, whatever way, I mean, willy-nilly, 80%, 90% of our Indians have experienced the natural infection. And unfortunately, there have been some deaths. There have been chaos because of the large numbers. And I feel some of the deaths might have been due to this sort of a medical stampede. Everybody, even asymptomatic cases, just having RT-PCR positive or filling up the hospitals. This is not the way to manage a pandemic. After the community transmission has established, you should only identify the moderate to severe cases and don't have to, because you can't prevent the spread of the year. So I feel that 80% Indians having experienced, I can just give an example. I have got a common sense. I'm not a virologist, but for the lay person also understand. So I have studied, we had a reunion after 30 years, college reunion. And we recognized each other because we have studied 5 years. Though many of us have lost the spike protein over a scalp, we have lost hair, we have lost hair have become gray. But we have studied with that person for 5 years, so he or she we recognized. We recognized the old girlfriends also. Though, so we are all mutating. But you have experienced the whole thing, you remember. Suppose I had been shown for a 1 day or 1 year, I have just seen the head of that person or the scalp of the person. After so many years, my immune memory is not there. I would have not recognized. So similarly, a person who have experienced a natural infection, he or she has the virus for 15 days in the body, the whole virus, the memory cell, T cells, it has a better immunity. I mean, it's common sense. It's not science, it's common sense. And in fact, it has been borne out by previous pandemics. If you remember the H1N1 pandemic, people over 60 were immune, whereas the young people were severely affected. Because why? Decades back, they had the H1N1 and it must have mutated many times. But still there is some. So I feel whatever new variant may come, it is like एक ही मुर्गी को बार बार काटोगे आप. So जितने बार भी काटोगे, अगर हमने पूरा मुर्गी को देखा है तो हम पहचान जाएंगे उस मुर्गी को. So I don't feel that it is a threat, and I was really concerned to see that they are going to now the Maharashtra government has said we have to vaccinate children also because the new variant has come. I don't see the logic, because the new variant is new variant. We are using the vaccine which is from the old variant, and in any case there is no. We just watch the data. Even in the country of origin, it is not creating a havoc as the people who have done the surveillance are predicting. It is one of those mathematical models which I feel may go off the mark.
Thank you very much, Dr. Banerjee. To quote you, there is a lot of compulsive obsessive disorder around the COVID. That's what you said in an article. And I'll now give it to Kishore for this next question to Professor Sanjay Rai.
Thank you, Mr. Shankar. डॉक्टर संजय राय के पास जाने से पहले मैं आपको बता दूं, नमस्कार। डॉक्टर संजय राय के पास जाने से पहले, सवाल पूछने से पहले मैं आपको बता दूं कि हमारा ये शो YouTube और Facebook पर लाइव चल रहा है और 11 बजे तक लाइव रहेगा और दुनिया से लोग जुड़ रहे हैं इसमें, दुनिया भर से, और हमारे पास रिस्पांस भी आ रहा है। अगर हमें समय मिला तो हम उनमें से कुछ रिस्पांस उठाकर डॉक्टरों से सवाल पूछेंगे। डॉक्टर साहब, आपसे बहुत सवाल करने हैं आज, क्योंकि भारत के लोग बहुत डरे हुए हैं। जो ओमिक्रॉन का नाम आया है, साउथ अफ्रीकन वेरिएंट, उसके बाद भारत के लोग बहुत डरे हुए हैं। डरे इसलिए भी हैं कि ये कहा जा रहा है कि ये इम्यूनिटी को बाईपास कर सकता है, और अगर ऐसा हुआ तो शायद वैक्सीन बहुत ज्यादा असरदार नहीं हुआ। आप जरा प्रकाश डालें इस पर।
ठीक है, देखिए अभी डॉक्टर बनर्जी भी बता रहे थे, बट मैं अभी जस्ट ज्वाइन किया हूँ, हो सकता है कुछ रिपीटेशन हो। मैंने चूंकि डॉक्टर बनर्जी को नहीं सुना तो हो सकता है रिपीटेशन हो, या हो सकता है मैं बिल्कुल ही अलग बात करूं, मुझे नहीं पता। जो भी साइंस है उस बेसिस पे मैं बात करूंगा। सो बेस्ड ऑन अवेलेबल एविडेंसेस, ये वायरस जो है 2 साल पुराना हो गया। कंप्लीट 2nd बर्थडे हम मनाने जा रहे हैं इसका इस दिसंबर में। काफी एविडेंस हम जनरेट कर चुके हैं, ग्लोबली एविडेंस जनरेट कर चुके हैं, लोकली एविडेंस जनरेट कर चुके हैं। हाँ, ये नहीं है कि हम सब कुछ इस वायरस के बारे में जानते हैं, बट बहुत कुछ जानते हैं। अब जो है संभावनाओं पे बात करना थोड़ा कम करना चाहिए, हमें जो है एविडेंस पे ज्यादा बात करनी चाहिए। व्हाट आर एविडेंसेस वी हैव करंटली कि जो भी नेचुरल इन्फेक्शन हो जाता है, दीज पीपल आर बेटर प्रोटेक्टेड, इनको बेटर प्रोटेक्शन मिलता है, लॉन्गर ड्यूरेशन तक प्रोटेक्शन मिलता है। देयर आर फ्यू स्टडीज कि उन्होंने ये कहा कि हो सकता है कि लाइफ लॉन्ग इम्यूनिटी मिले, बट जो भी एविडेंसेस हैं लंबे समय तक अच्छे मिल रहा है। मैं एक ही एग्जांपल देना चाहता हूं यूके का। देयर आर थाउजेंड्स ऑफ एग्जांपल। दे रिलीज डेटा ऑफ 4 मिलियन पॉपुलेशन, 40 लाख का उन्होंने डेटा रिलीज किया कि पिछले साल में तक जिनको इन्फेक्शन हुआ था उनमें से कितने को री इन्फेक्शन हुआ, इवन ये हाईली वेरिएंट इन्फेक्टिव वेरिएंट भी था। तो दे फाउंड कि ओनली 0.4% सारे इन्फेक्शन, प्रोबेबल भी मिला के देख लें तो 0.4% था, और नॉन डेवलप एनी सीवियरिटी। कंफर्म इन्फेक्शन की अगर मैं बात करूं सो ओनली 53 थे। तो द प्रॉब्लम इज कि हम जो है इसको वेटेज को, जो नेचुरल इम्यूनिटी गेन किया हुआ है, उस वेटेज को इग्नोर करते रहते हैं, और इसीलिए हमारे सारे प्रेडिक्शन भी फेल होते हैं कि 4 लाख केसेज आएंगे अक्टूबर में। और इसलिए क्योंकि हमने ये मान लिया है कि सिर्फ वैक्सीन ही जो है ससेप्टेबल पॉपुलेशन को कम करेगा, नेचुरल इन्फेक्शन नहीं कम करेगा। बट इसका उल्टा हो रहा है। हम पहले मैंने भी कहा था कि सारे वैक्सीन में होता है कि दोनों नेचुरल इन्फेक्शन से एंड आल्सो योर वैक्सीन जो है आपकी हर्ड इम्यूनिटी डेवलप करने में मदद मिलेगी। हर्ड इम्यूनिटी का मतलब होता है कि इनडायरेक्ट हम दूसरों को प्रोटेक्ट करते हैं, बट वैक्सीन इज नॉट प्रिवेंटिंग इन्फेक्शन। शायद जो ओरिजिनल थे उनमें सीवियरिटी कम अच्छा खासा कर रहा था, डेथ कम कर रहा था, बट न्यू वेरिएंट जब आए हैं, अभी सिंगापुर इज एग्जांपल कि ऑलमोस्ट मोर देन 90% लोग वैक्सीनेटेड हैं, फिर भी जो है नहीं सीवियरिटी वहां कम हुई, नहीं डेथ कम हुआ, क्योंकि और सिंगापुर को हम हमेशा एग्जांपल करते थे। नाउ आई एम कमिंग टू दिस न्यू वायरस, जो न्यू स्ट्रेन आया है। साउथ अफ्रीका ने उसको फर्स्ट टाइम रिपोर्ट किया, उन्होंने WHO को 24 को अभी भेजा इंफॉर्मेशन। WHO ने उसका एक नामकरण भी उसी दिन कर दिया था, बेस्ड ऑन द एविडेंसेस। इन्होंने कहा था कि B.1.1.529 एंड देन उन्होंने इमरजेंसी बैठक बुलाई और परसों जो है डे बिफोर यस्टरडे जो है दे डिक्लेयर्ड दिस एज ए वेरिएंट ऑफ कंसर्न। यूजुअली जो है उस दिन फर्स्ट डे जब 24 को वेरिएंट ऑफ इसको जो है फॉर मॉनिटरिंग रखा था, अभी वेरिएंट ऑफ इंटरेस्ट भी नहीं रखा था, क्योंकि एक बार हम कि उनको निगरानी में हम रखते हैं एंड देन उसको कि वेरिएंट ऑफ इंटरेस्ट है, एविडेंस जनरेट करते हैं कि क्या इन्फेक्टिविटी जाता है। यूजुअली 4 पैरामीटर्स लेते हैं जब हम वेरिएंट ऑफ कंसर्न कहते हैं, तो कि क्या इन्फेक्टिविटी ज्यादा है पुराने वेरिएंट से, या उसका जो है सीवियरिटी ज्यादा हो रहा है, या इम्यून स्केप हो रहा है, जो एग्जिस्टिंग एक्वायर्ड इम्यूनिटी है उसको स्केप कर दे रहा है, या जो मैनेजमेंट प्रोटोकॉल है हमारा उसको बाईपास कर दे रहा है। इन पे जो है हो सकता है मिला हो एविडेंस, मिला हो जो एविडेंस है कि इम्यूनिटी को तो बाईपास कर रहा है, और वो भी एक्वायर्ड इम्यूनिटी थ्रू वैक्सीन, और वो लॉजिकल भी है। जिस तरीके से म्यूटेशंस हुए हैं, majority of these vaccines are producing antibody against your spike protein के अगेंस्ट एंटीबॉडीज बना रहे हैं, और अगर ज्यादा चेंजेस स्पाइक प्रोटीन में ही होगा तो वह जो है एंटीबॉडीज रहते हुए भी नहीं उसको रिकॉग्नाइज नहीं कर पाएगा। तो जैसे हांगकांग के जो दोनों केस थे वो दोनों ही फुल्ली वैक्सीनेटेड थे, मैसेंजर RNA वैक्सीन से फुल्ली वैक्सीनेटेड थे। तो इसको देखते हुए ये लगता है कि हाँ इन्फेक्टिविटी, उन्होंने जो अभी बताया कि इन्फेक्टिविटी ज्यादा है इसकी, सीवियरिटी पे हमारे पास कोई डेटा नहीं है, हम ये नहीं अभी कह सकते हैं कि सीवियरिटी इसका ज्यादा है इस न्यू वेरिएंट का, लेकिन इन्फेक्टिविटी ज्यादा है जैसा कि इन्होंने बताया है, और WHO ने भी उसको माना है और वेरिएंट ऑफ कंसर्न डिक्लेयर कर दिया है। इसीलिए तो अभी देखते हुए हमें नहीं लगता कि बहुत बड़ी प्रॉब्लम एटलीस्ट इन आवर कंट्री आने वाली है, क्योंकि ड्यूरिंग सेकेंड वेव लार्ज नंबर ऑफ पॉपुलेशन जिस तरीके से इन्फेक्ट हुआ था, जो सीरो सर्वे दिखाता है, ICMR ने जून में जो सीरो सर्वे किया था, जून जुलाई में 68% लोग इन्फेक्टेड थे। आपने ये देखा कि दिल्ली का लोकल सीरो सर्वे 90% चिल्ड्रन जो है वह जो है उनमें सीरो पॉजिटिविटी में एंटीबॉडीज पाए गए। दैट मीन्स 90% बच्चों को भी हुआ जिनको हमने अभी तक वैक्सीन नहीं दिया है, हो चुका है और हमें पता तक नहीं चला। इन सबों को देखते हुए अभी और एविडेंस जनरेट करने की जरूरत है। हो सकता है नेचुरल इम्यूनिटी को भी बाईपास कर ले, मैं ये नहीं कहता कि नहीं करेगा, बट हमें अभी इसको वॉच करना चाहिए कि अगर नेचुरल इम्यूनिटी को ये बाईपास करने के लिए कैपेबल है दिस न्यू वेरिएंट, तब तो कुछ भी कर सकता है। तब तो ये मैं कहूंगा कि कंप्लीटली न्यू वायरस है, वो सार्स कोरोना वायरस 2 है कि नहीं इस पे भी डाउट हो जाएगा मुझे। सो अगर न्यू वायरस है तो कभी भी न्यू पेंडेमिक हो सकता है। ये सार्स कोरोना वायरस 2 का कोई फर्स्ट है ना ही लास्ट पेंडेमिक है। सो कोई पेंडेमिक हो सकता है अगर वो नेचुरल इन्फेक्शन को भी इन्वेट करता है। अभी तक वी डोंट हैव एनी एविडेंस कि नेचुरल इन्फेक्शन को इन्वेट कर रहा है। जो भी एविडेंसेज हैं वो ये है कि वैक्सीन एक्वायर्ड इम्यूनिटी को ही इन्वेट कर रहा है। तो अभी वेट एंड वॉच करने का है, इतनी जो है डरने की जरूरत नहीं है, बट हमें सतर्क रहने की जरूरत है।
डॉक्टर साहब, आपने मैंने कहीं पढ़ा है, आपने इसको हेविली म्यूटेड वेरिएंट बोला है, और आज के अखबारों में साउथ अफ्रीकन डॉक्टर्स ने, उनके एसोसिएशन ने कहा है कि ये बिल्कुल माइल्ड है, तो इससे बहुत ज्यादा घबराने की जरूरत नहीं है, ये माइल्ड है वायरस से। तो हम क्या समझें इस वेरिएंट के बारे में कि इसको, ये भी विवाद चल रहा है कि उसको कवर अप करने की कोशिश हो रही है, साउथ अफ्रीका में कंट्रोवर्सी भी चल रही है। तो आपके हिसाब से, इंडियन पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से, ये किसी अपग्रेडेड वैक्सीन की जरूरत है, बूस्टर की जरूरत है, या जैसा चल रहा है उससे काम चल जाएगा?
पहली बात, ये बहुत ही इंपॉर्टेंट क्वेश्चन है कि यह जो है माइल्ड है या सीवियर है म्यूटेशन। देखिए मैंने कहा था कि म्यूटेशंस बहुत हुए हैं बेस्ड ऑन एविडेंसेस। जो भाई मैंने उस वायरस को आइसोलेट नहीं किया है, वायरस की स्टडी नहीं की है, बट जो भी अवेलेबल एविडेंसेस है उस पे कहा। बट म्यूटेशंस होते रहते हैं, आरएनए वायरस है, इसमें म्यूटेशंस होते रहते हैं। हो सकता है 5 म्यूटेशंस भी उसको बहुत खतरनाक बना दे और 100 म्यूटेशन जो है वायरस के लिए खतरनाक हो जाए। तो म्यूटेशन ज्यादा होना ये कोई ऐसा इंडिकेशन नहीं है कि वह जो है अगर ज्यादा म्यूटेशंस हो गए तो बहुत खतरनाक हो गया और कम म्यूटेशंस हुए। हो सकता है कम म्यूटेशंस होते हुए भी उसकी बॉन्डिंग जो है इस रिसेप्टर से जो होती है वह जो है इतनी मजबूत हो जाए कि वह जो है इन्फेक्टिविटी बढ़ा दे, उसकी सीवियरिटी बढ़ा दे, कुछ भी कर सकता है। तो ये जो अभी रिपोर्टेड है इसमें कि म्यूटेशंस काफी ज्यादा हुए हैं, स्पाइक प्रोटीन्स में काफी म्यूटेशंस ज्यादा हुए हैं। इसलिए जो है उस बेसिस पे म्यूटेशंस की नंबर ऑफ म्यूटेशंस ज्यादा हैं, इसलिए कहना जो है बहुत ही गलत होगा कि, और मैंने ऐसा कहा भी नहीं है कि उससे जो है उसकी सीवियरिटी या इन्फेक्टिविटी बढ़ी है। बस म्यूटेशंस हैं जो अवेलेबल एविडेंसेस है कि काफी म्यूटेशंस जो हैं हुए हैं। द सेकेंड क्वेश्चन जो बूस्टर का है, बूस्टर का मतलब होता है कि एग्जिस्टिंग इम्यूनिटी को बूस्ट करना। अगर ये कंप्लीटली न्यू वेरिएंट है, मान लीजिए स्पाइक प्रोटीन इतने चेंज हो गए हैं कि उसको एग्जिस्टिंग इम्यूनिटी जो है जो वैक्सीन से है उसको रिकॉग्नाइज नहीं कर रही है, तो बूस्टर देने से भी जो है कोई बहुत ज्यादा जो है फायदा नजर नहीं आता कि बूस्टर में दे के उसको बेनिफिट। हाँ, हो सकता है अगर कंप्लीटली न्यू वेरिएंट है और जिनको जो है नेचुरल इन्फेक्शन से एक्वायर्ड इम्यूनिटी नहीं है, उनको अगर न्यू वेरिएंट के अगेंस्ट मैं वैक्सीन लगाऊं तो उससे बेनिफिट मिलने की प्रोबेबिलिटी है। बट एग्जिस्टिंग बूस्टर लगा के ये मेरे समझ में नहीं आता कि उससे कोई बेनिफिट होने वाला है। जहां तक मुझे लगता है ऐसा कोई भी बेनिफिट नहीं होगा अगर साइंस की मैं बात करूं तो।
साहब आपसे बहुत सवाल करने हैं, आप हमारे साथ बने रहिए। फिलहाल आगे बढ़ते हैं। ओवर टू मिस्टर शंकर।
Thank you, Kishore. My question to Dr. Amitav is coming from South Africa and Omicron to Karnataka. Now we have seen suddenly clusters emerging in Dharwad at the SDM college. We have clusters emerging in Mysore in a nursing college. We have clusters emerging in a nursing college in Bengaluru, and of course, another in an international school. Now, if you see the common pattern of this, we find that it is the nursing section and the doctors who are infected in SDM, in Mysore, in Bengaluru. Now, do you think, and these are all frontline workers who got their vaccine pretty early. So do you think that the efficacy of the vaccines has come down and hence they're catching another infection, which is quite mild as they reported?
The vaccines never, after rollout, they found that vaccines are not interrupting the transmission. They only claim to reduce the severity and hospitalization. So much of it depends on the testing also, because these frontline workers are getting tested more. So we don't know the exact denominator. Like as Dr. Sanjay Rai said, 90% people are already infected at any given time or in the past. So at any given time, large number of people will be carrying the RT-PCR. So just labeling a case on the basis of RT-PCR, it will always, the more you test, the more you will get. And of course, nursing people and doctors are working in a closed environment. So I think it depends on the pattern of testing. So how much you are testing, whom you are testing. So until we have a granular data, until we have a proper study that how much it is in the lay population also. And once it is spread so much, we did all this from the beginning, cluster quarantine and other things and testing, but we have not been able to control it. And if the new variant Omicron is more transmissible, so these measures are not going to fail again, and at a lot of cost to society and to the health resources, without achieving anything.
So, continuing from what Dr. Rai had said, do you think that we should give booster doses because states like Kerala, Tamil Nadu, and all are pressing the center to give at least a booster dose to frontline workers? What's your opinion?
We should go by the evidence. We should see the mortality, infection mortality rate. It has not increased. In fact, it is still, for young people, it is 99.9973, the survival. So we may give, I don't know boosters, but as on today, we give 2 doses. So we should prioritize those who are having comorbid conditions and those who are high risk. And of course, frontline workers, I don't know whether, we are just repeating, they might have already been having natural infection. So at the most we can do their say antibody testing. Of course, that's also not very perfect because antibodies wane over time. But we should concentrate on other T cell and other things, particularly for select groups. I mean, frontline workers. I mean, the amount of money we are wasting on RT-PCR and other things, if we can just find out that after the aftermath of the second wave, how much of a population are already immune. And then we have to follow the data also. The data, the cases are plummeting. So that is a good sign. So we should triangulate inputs from various dimensions. And we should not just get panicky that something is happening in South Africa, something is happening in Europe. Europe, they have a seasonal, every winter they have a spike of any respiratory virus. So this COVID happens to be the seasonal virus, the virus this time. So we should not panic. We should see our demography. We should see our seroprevalence. We should see our leaner population, younger population, and then form a good model. So what is happening is people are taking piecemeal data. Somebody is taking some mutation, somebody is taking some mathematical model, somebody is taking the trend from the European country. So it's a hodgepodge. So we should have our own customized models.
Thank you. Over to you, Kishore.
डॉक्टर संजय राय, एम्स की एक स्टडी आई है जिसपे विवाद भी छिड़ गया है कि कोवैक्सीन की एफिकेसी को लेके कि ये 50% तक ही असरदार है। क्या आपको लगता नहीं है कि इससे थोड़ा वैक्सीनेशन के जो वैक्सीनेशन को लेकर जो उत्साह है उसमें थोड़ी कमी आएगी?
देखिए, जो स्टडी लैंसेट में भी पब्लिश्ड हुई है, ओवरऑल वैक्सीन इफेक्टिवनेस अगर 50% भी वैक्सीन इफेक्टिवनेस है तो मैं कहूंगा कि क्योंकि डेल्टा वेरिएंट आया था, डेल्टा वेरिएंट में जो देखने को मिल रहा है, पब्लिकेशंस कुछ भी हो, एज ए एपिडेमियोलॉजिस्ट हम डेटा को एनालाइज करते हैं। मैं सिंगापुर का एक एग्जांपल दे दूं, वियतनाम का एग्जांपल दे दूं, जहां जहां इन्फेक्शन नहीं हुए थे, जहां जहां नेचुरल इन्फेक्शन हो गया, उन पे जो है प्रिडिक्ट करना मुश्किल होता है। उससे जो है मैं इसको कोरिलेट करूंगा। सिंगापुर का ले लीजिए, सिंगापुर में उन्होंने एक ये देखा था स्पाइक, वो भी पिछले साल अप्रैल में। उसके बाद पूरे एक साल से ज्यादा समय तक उनका जो है लेस देन 100 केसेस रहे हैं। इन्फेक्शन उन्होंने फैलने नहीं दिया, उन्होंने स्ट्रिक्ट मेजर्स अपनाया। और ये उसके बाद उन्होंने अपने पूरे पॉपुलेशन को जो है बेस्ट वैक्सीन से इम्यूनाइज किया, इनोकुलेट किया, उससे फाइजर और मेडोना की वैक्सीन से, मैसेंजर आरएनए वैक्सीन से। उसके बाद जो है अगस्त, इस साल अगस्त के बाद से देखिए वहां पे धीरे धीरे केसेस बढ़ने शुरू हुए और आज की डेट में जो है सारे रिकॉर्ड उन्होंने केस के तोड़ दिए थे। पिछले 2 महीने में मैक्सिमम 1000 भी नहीं पहुंचा था उस समय, जो 4000 के आसपास पहुंच गए पर डे केसेस जो है। तो एक तो इन्फेक्टिविटी कम नहीं हुई, सारे पॉपुलेशन को ऑलमोस्ट इस समय जो है मोर देन 90% पॉपुलेशन उनका जो है दोनों डोज से इनोकुलेटेड है। एडल्ट पॉपुलेशन की अगर मैं बात करूं तो ऑलमोस्ट 100% है। सीवियरिटी देखें, सीवियरिटी अगर आप देखें तो कोई कमी नहीं हुई है। डेथ रेट जो है, क्योंकि जहां जहां नेचुरल इन्फेक्शन नहीं हुआ है वहां सीवियरिटी में कोई कमी नहीं पाई जा रही है अभी जो है। शुरू में मैंने भी खुद क्लिनिकल ट्रायल्स किए तो मैं कई बार आके बोला हूं कि बहुत ही ज्यादा सीवियरिटी कम हो रही है, 80 to 90% सीवियरिटी कम हो रही थी, क्योंकि उस समय वुहान वायरस था। जब ये नए वायरस आ गए हैं, स्पेशली जो है इनमें जो बहुत ही स्पेसिफिक एंटीबॉडीज बना रहे हैं, उनमें जो है सीवियरिटी पे बहुत इंपैक्ट नहीं है। अब बहुत क्या, इन कंट्रीज का जहां जहां इन्फेक्शन नहीं हुआ वहां बिल्कुल ही नहीं है। आप देखिए तो उनका महीने में 1 डेथ होती थी, इस समय 10 to 15 डेथ पर डे जो है पिछले 3 महीने से हो रही थी। मतलब 5 से ज्यादा डेथ और 15 तक पहुंच रही थी। सिंगापुर की मैं बात कर रहा हूं। सेशल्स एग्जाम्पल है। मैं छोटे छोटे कंट्री की इसलिए एग्जाम्पल दे रहा हूं क्योंकि जब भी हमें इस टाइप की डिजीज को स्टडी करना होता है तो इन छोटी कंट्रीज में, चूंकि ये आइलैंड्स हैं, पूरी तरह पानी से घिरे हुए हैं, जब ये स्ट्रिक्ट मेजर करते हैं, लॉकडाउन कर दिया, तो फिर जो वहां पे इफेक्ट है उसको अच्छी स्टडी की जा सकती है। हिंदुस्तान में आप एक स्टेट का नहीं स्टडी कर सकते, इवन कंट्री लेवल पे भी स्टडी करेंगे, इतने पोरस बॉर्डर हैं कि हम जो है कि उसका इम्पैक्ट क्या है हमारे लॉकडाउन का या हमारे इफेक्ट का या हमारे इंटरवेंशन का, वह जो है उतनी अच्छी स्टडी नहीं होगी जितनी छोटी कंट्रीज में होगी। इसलिए मैं इन कंट्रीज का ले रहा हूं एग्जाम्पल। सेशल्स में देख लीजिए, सेशल्स छोटी कंट्री है, 115 आइलैंड्स की बनी हुई कंट्री है, चारों तरफ आइलैंड है। उनमें जो है केसेस ऑलमोस्ट उन्होंने कंट्रोल रखे थे, डेथ भी दिसंबर तक एक भी नहीं हुआ था। सेशल्स पहला ऐसा कंट्री है जिसने पूरी दुनिया को जो है फर्स्ट जो है 60% पॉपुलेशन को जो है अपने अप्रैल में ही उन्होंने इनॉकुलेट कर दिया था वैक्सीन से। उसके बाद इजराइल का नंबर आता है, इजराइल नेक्स्ट नंबर था। आज जो है सेशल जो है दुनिया के टॉप 5 कंट्रीज में ऐसा है जो पर मिलियन पॉपुलेशन जिनमें इन्फेक्शन हुआ। दिसंबर के पहले इतना कम उन्होंने कंट्रोल कर लिया। तो एक इससे 2 मैसेज आता है, एक कि इन्फेक्शन को रोकने में कारगर नहीं है, वो पब्लिकेशन हम कुछ भी करते हैं, एज एपिडेमियोलॉजिस्ट में डेटा एनालाइज करने के बाद ही कुछ बोल सकता हूं। सेकेंड, शुरू में सीवियरिटी काफी कम थी, अब जो है सीवियरिटी उस तरीके से कम नहीं है, डेल्टा वेरिएंट ये सब आए हैं, तो इसलिए जो है वहां पे जो है क्यों, और ओबियस भी है, वो इतने स्पेसिफिक एंटीबॉडीज बनाते हैं सिर्फ मैसेंजर आरएनए के। जहां तक आपने कोवैक्सीन की बात की, मैं अभी कोवैक्सीन पे बताऊंगा। हाँ, कोवैक्सीन पे 50% अगर आ रहा है तो मैं बाकी वैक्सीन से ये मानूंगा कि रियली बहुत ही बेटर है, और वो ओबियस भी है, क्योंकि आज की डेट में जो हमारे पास एविडेंसेस हैं, इस दुनिया में जो बेस्ट प्रोटेक्टेड पर्सन है वह जो डेल्टा वेरिएंट से रिकवर्ड हो गया है। लैब में अगर आप देखें, उनका कन्वल्शन प्लाज्मा अगर देखें तो पुराने सारे वेरिएंट को न्यूट्रलाइज कर रहा है, सबसे बेस्ट प्रोटेक्टेड पर्सन है। ठीक है, ये दैट मीन्स कि नेचुरल इन्फेक्शन इज वर्किंग, नेचुरल इन्फेक्शन अच्छा प्रोटेक्शन दे रहा है, और जिसके वेटेज को हम नहीं करते, मैं बार बार भी मैं ये कहता रहा। उसके बावजूद इसीलिए जो है वह जो है थ्योरेटिकली जो है बेटर प्रोटेक्शन दे सकता है, क्योंकि वह जो एंटीबॉडीज जो है सारे प्रोटीन के अगेंस्ट बनाता है, जो इसके नॉट ओनली स्पाइक प्रोटीन। और 50% को मैं कम नहीं मानता। थैंक यू
डॉक्टर साहब, थैंक यू। हम आगे भी आपसे बात करेंगे। हम आपको एक बार फिर बता दें कि हमारे इस शो में उपस्थित देश भर के जाने माने डॉक्टरों को दुनिया भर के लोग यूट्यूब और फेसबुक पर लाइव देख रहे हैं, सुन रहे हैं, लाभ उठा रहे हैं, और उनके रिस्पॉन्स भी आ रहे हैं बहुत ज्यादा। तो अब हम अपने को होस्ट शंकर सर को हैंड ओवर करते हैं कि वो शो को आगे बढ़ाएं।
Thank you, Kishore. We now move on to a very important topic on overview of vaccine and where are we on kids vaccination in India. We have with us Dr. Sudip Srivastava, founder of HEAL Foundation and HEAL Health, which have been at the forefront of healthcare awareness through healthcare communication and have been instrumental in creating campaigns and platforms for healthcare improvements in India for the last 2 decades. He will be in conversation with Dr. N.K. Arora, the current executive director of Incline Trust International, and has been holding the post since 2005. He holds an MD in pediatrics from the All India Institute of Medical Sciences, New Delhi, and has received MMSc in clinical epidemiology and biostatistics from the University of Newcastle, Australia, under the Incline Training Program. He was a faculty member of AIIMS since 1983 and retired as professor of pediatric gastroenterology, hepatology, and nutrition in 2007. Professor Arora is a well-known public health expert in India and is extensively involved in policy making, program planning, implementation, and evaluation of public health programs at both national and international levels. Over to you, Sudeep.
Thank you, Shankar sir. Thank you, Kishore ji. And first of all, I'll take permission from Dr. Rai and Dr. Banerjee to give a little break when I start my conversation with our respectable Dr. N.K. Arora, and then we'll again join back with a lot of more questions and queries, because there will be a lot of interesting points and facts coming from what Dr. Arora says today. And Dr. Arora sir, welcome sir. Welcome on this Sunday morning, sir. Namaskar. And sir, today you are more known in the capacity of chairman of the COVID-19 working group of the National Technical Advisory Group on Immunization, that is NTAGI. So, sir, first of all, let me congratulate you, sir. You are playing one of the most important role and being in the forefront of educating and creating awareness through media on a lot of vaccine conundrum and confusion, which is floating around. So you have been at the forefront. We have seen a lot of your stories, article quotes from time to time, where you have come and clarified on a lot of aspects. And I would like to cover a lot of such important points. wherein I'll cover something what the vaccine journey which we have done in the past, the current scenario, as well as the future scenario related to what everybody in the country and most of the parents are waiting for, the child vaccinations. So my first question is, which is again, though being in healthcare awareness and communication at the forefront, we have done about 50 webinars, summits in the last 500, 600 days. But one thing which I'm also not clear, and which a lot of our viewers would also like to know from your mouth, is what is the exact role of NTAGI, and we'd like to hear in your words, you can list the key achievements of NTAGI under your chairmanship, sir.
So, Deep, thank you very much for inviting me. I'm so honored and to be part of this August gathering, and also my greetings to all the viewers. NTAGI is a body of experts, external experts, who are not necessarily part of the government system, and provide independent scientific advice on practically every aspect of immunization program and vaccination program in the country. So what happens that whenever a new vaccine is to be introduced, whenever the rollout process is involved, the program implementation, what is to be done to ensure vaccine safety, and when even though regulators look at the data and release it, we try to look at the data provided by the manufacturer and see if there are additional studies which are required, which will be helpful in the long term. So the whole immunization program is taken up and approached in a very comprehensive manner, and all aspects, and same issues may come up. And in fact, I'm so glad that during pandemic, this COVID pandemic, people have come to know about NTAGI, because NTAGI has been in existence since 2000, and India is one of those first countries where NTAGI was established. It is there in most of the countries. Practically 90% of the globally it is present, and plays a important policy making and guidance role. Another dimension NTAGI plays is to review the immunization program from time to time, whether the program is on track or whether it requires any modification. So that is also part of the terms of reference of this particular expert group.
Would you like to also highlight some key achievements during COVID times, NTAGI achievements?
No, these are not achievements. I would say these are responsibilities, and therefore these are, the NTAGI also becomes accountable, because all decisions have to be independent, must be independent and science-based. I like the way Professor Sanjay Rai was telling us the examples and the data from various countries. So a very systematic way of arriving at any decision has been charted out, and in the process, the science is at the forefront, so that, and the overall objective is that our people get the best of protection in this turbulent times. So I will start with one very important issue. We knew right last year in July, August itself, that there is going to be vaccine shortage or limited vaccine supply will be available. And we also knew the whole pipeline for 2021. This was known to us right in the September, October of last year. So a prioritization list was prepared based on national data as well as global data, risk priority, and those kind of things were there. Another issue is that whenever a new vaccine is to be introduced, NTAGI discusses all pros and cons. A very good example you gave about the paper published from AIIMS, and Sanjay was explaining that. And it says 50% effectiveness, but we have not read the the small print in that. It also says that it was the peak of our Delta virus epidemic at that time. And if you split that 1 month into 10 days, as the epidemic was progressing and coming down, the vaccine effectiveness kept on increasing. So that is a very important thing. Third thing which came up there, that whenever there is peak of or very massive transmission of viruses taking place, at that time, even mRNA vaccine, Pfizer was having only 40% in the countries where it was there. So to say, just because it becomes difficult for a common man to understand these nitty-gritties, but the question is that you start looking at things in a way which makes sense from a programmatic view, but the final parameter is how effective and how well protection it provides to our people and community at large.
So, very valid point, sir. And sir, a lot of questions you may find repetitive because you have been thick and thin of all these Q&As for the last so many months. But just for the sake of our new set of viewers here, I would like to put those questions in a very quick way. We can have a quick take, sir. So one of these question which would have been repeated to you in the past is where you gave a key statement on Covishield gap between 2 doses in India. So can you, sir, throw some light on what prompted the government to increase the cap and what is the current scenario on the 2 doses gap in Covishield? Will it remain the same or you're doing a rethinking of some sorts?
So thank you for asking this question. This is very important. And I would certainly like to respond to that. So we started with 4 weeks, although at that time, some countries and there was WHO was also saying, let us have it at 3 months. But the primary data, which was at that time, the only data was from the vaccine trial data. And the trial started with 4-week interval. 4 weeks later, we looked at the data again, and it looked like that 8 weeks may be appropriate. But by that time, our local Indian data had come, and also additional data from UK had come, that if we increase the interval, then the vaccine works better. And it is biologically also true that when you increase the dosage between 2 doses of the vaccine, the immune response, antibody response is better. And that is why around 13th of May, we decided to increase the interval between 2 doses at 3 to 4 months. The original data, whereby I would say default, there were large number of individuals in the original AstraZeneca trial where interval was more than 3 months. It was going up to 6 months. And they found that maximum protection was coming from there. So we decided to go in for this 3 to 4 month interval at that time. Our own data was showing. And over the time, we find that this interval has done very well, because here in this kind of a framework, the second dose actually works almost like a booster. So you give a first dose, and 3 to 4 months later, when you give the second dose, it works like booster. Now, in the background of a very massive outbreak of second wave, now we see that our population has got what can be called as a hybrid immune response. Lot of us are naturally infected. On top of that, we have got 90% Covishield, where 2 doses are given at an interval of 3 months. So and that is why most of the places there are once those who have got the vaccine, if at all breakthrough infection occurs, it's a very mild disease, but most of the times breakthrough infections are also not occurring. So in both hindsight as well as the decision making at that time was scientific, and it has proved over time. So at the moment but we are continuously looking at the data. We have set up a national vaccine tracking platform where we are looking at if there is any breakthroughs start occurring, but it is not happening. So this, for the time being, the interval will remain same. I will also like to add that even when we made the decision, the reason for shortage of vaccine was not the reason for increasing the interval. Because if I increase it is like a EMI. Agar maine for 2 months, if I don't give the EMI, it doesn't mean that I don't have to give the EMI. It is just I'm deferring it by 2 months or 1 month. So it is the same reason that scientifically it makes sense, and we are going to continue.
So very, very point. You clarified it beautifully, sir, because a lot of people I have been speaking to have been of the perception is that the government has increased the dose because there was a shortage and they will get some space, about 3 months space, to have a new lot of doses coming in. So very valid point, sir. So you also said, talked about in October, you said about Zydus Cadilac's COVID-19 vaccine ZyCoV-D will start in the next 2-3 weeks. So what is the situation, sir? And where are we, sir? Where is India with respect to new vaccines coming in the near future, sir? I'm not talking of the child, which I'll ask in the end, sir, because that is a very important, needs more deliberation. But what about other vaccines?
So let us take about ZyCoV-D. In fact, it's a matter of pride and honor that ZyCoV-D came to India. It is world's first DNA vaccine. And this technology, people have been working for almost 3 decades, but it didn't work so well. But India has come out with this technology. And it is the greatest advantage is what we call plug and play. You can change. So for example, we are hearing this new Omicron variant. And if a vaccine is to be prepared in about 2.5 or 3 months, we can have a new vaccine of DNA based or similarly mRNA based vaccine. So the second thing is, but it has a slow production line. So that is a limitation at the time, but I am told the manufacturers inform that the manufacturing is going to go up very rapidly in coming weeks and months. And now we know finally the vaccine, the manufacturer will probably deliver the first batch of 1 crore doses sometime next week, means in first week, 1 week or 10 days of December. And these locations, it will be rolled out in limited geographical regions because the number of doses are less. And the country is ready, the training programs and other things are going on.
So you mean to say that by December the rollout will start. So
Yes.
they will have another additional vaccine.
Now, about the other new vaccines, we have a very robust pipeline for new vaccines. So there is mRNA vaccines, Genova's mRNA vaccine, which I think is going to be game changer for the whole world. It can be stored at 2 to 8 degrees, and phase 3 trials have started. I think somewhere in January that should be available to our people. And it is much lower dose, so side effects are likely to be less as compared to Moderna and Pfizer, which people think are the benchmark. But no, this vaccine is going to be probably, and there are certain new things which are coming up as part of this mRNA vaccine. Then there is biological E is coming with a protein subunit, something like what is called hepatitis B ki tarah vaccine jo hoti hai. That is also a protein subunit. And so this vaccine is called Corbevax. They are doing phase 3 as well as in pediatric population. Serum Institute is also coming up with a vaccine called Covovax, which is also protein subunit. And that vaccine is also going to come up very soon by January or so. Third vaccine, which is going to be very exciting, is intranasal vaccine. The trials are already going on for phase 3 for intranasal vaccine. And this is from Bharat Biotech. And again, this is a transformative. This is a vectored vaccine. First time in the world that a nasal vaccine has come in. It is, we are looking up to with a lot of excitement because ease of delivery is there. You put a small amount of vaccine into your nose and that's it. So it is no injection. And one is also looking at it that it may be more effective in transmission of virus, because transmission of virus requires some protective cover on our nose and our throat and our gut. And we hope that's the assumption, but very soon we'll get some more information. So there is a very robust line of new vaccines coming up in next 8 to 10 weeks or 12 weeks.
Wonderful, sir. So year 2022 will be a great start with almost 4 new vaccines, including a nasal vaccine, in addition to Covaxin and Covishield, sir.
I'd like to add, it may look a little presumptuous statement. Next year, we are going to have 4 to 5 billion doses, and we will vaccinate most part of the developing world. These vaccines will be available for the rest of the world also.
Wonderful.
That's the plan for the country.
Wonderful, sir. And that's the spirit of this current government, being presumptuous and being positive, and that helps, sir. So, but very quickly, I would also, and a lot of public health experts and other people have been wondering about Russia's Sputnik V vaccine. Why has Sputnik's rollout fizzled out, sir? Is it also due to phenomenal increase in COVID cases in Russia, which may have put hold on their supplies outside of Russia, or there's some other reason, sir?
See, Sputnik, by whatever initial trials we have seen the results, it's very promising vaccine. It is like the Johnson & Johnson vaccine, where the first dose is of a particular type of adenovirus, which is called adeno26. But Sputnik has two components. One is adeno26 and the second is adeno5. Now, adeno26 production has been very rapid. They are able to produce it in large quantities. But the second component, adeno5 component, the production is very slow, 1/5. So 1:5 kind of is the ratio. And this is the problem not only in India, because in India there are 5 companies. Even in Russia, they are having this difficulty. So they have tried with just the first dose, which they call as Sputnik Light, and that also provides, it's like Johnson & Johnson, as I said. Johnson & Johnson is 1 dose. It's not available in India, but it is approved and globally used. But another limitation with the Sputnik is that it requires -18 degrees till the point of delivery. So if I have to give Sputnik to you, then I have to open the vial at -18 degrees in front of you, wait for about half an hour or so, and then give it to you. So that is another very practical implication, and so it requires a much more elaborate infrastructure for giving the vaccine.
So Sputnik delay is primarily because of, one is production issues, and second is the delivery at the point of delivery, sir. Wonderful, got your point, sir. So some few facts, in fact, I would like to read for our readers also. These data may be a little old from August, September, so they might be a change by 20-30% by now. But like, for example, European Medicines Agency approved the Pfizer vaccine of 12 to 15 years old. Denmark for 12 to 15 years, Spain 12 to 19 years have both vaccinated most of their children population with at least a single dose. France too has been moving fast. 52% children have been fully vaccinated. Germany's scientific advisors recommended the vaccine should only be offered to children aged 12 to 15 with underlying health condition. But in August, when Delta variant started spreading more widely, the rollout was extended to all those over 12 years old. In Sweden, children aged 12 to 15 are only eligible for a vaccine if they have lung disease, severe asthma, and other high risk of medical condition. In Norway, now part of EU, the vaccine rollout was recently extended to children aged 12 to 15, but only a first dose will be offered, with a decision on the second dose to be made later. In May, US and Canada regulators were the first to approve the Pfizer jab used in children from 12 years and above. But by the end of July, 42% of 12 to 17 years old have been received their first dose and 32% their second dose of their Pfizer and Moderna shots. Now in USA, 5 to 17-year-olds are getting vaccinated of Pfizer BioNTech COVID vaccines. China began to allow some children from 30 to 17 years old to be offered shots of vaccine produced by drug maker Sinovac, making the first country to approve the jab for such a young age group. So, sir, the key question amongst all Indians is, sir, India has the largest adolescent population in the world, estimated at about 253 million by UNICEF. National Serological Survey data suggest about 60% of children have been exposed to coronavirus since the start of pandemic and are likely to have built up some immunity from past infection. You have been a leading pediatrician from AIIMS, sir, the Premier Institute. You also said that rollout of pediatric COVID vaccine will start by mid-October 2021 in India. But why this delay? When India will see the vaccine rollout for kids, and for what age group and in what phase manner, sir? This becomes a big sort of question and curiosity among my mind, because of all parents, sir. I'm talking to parents across, people across. Parents are so worried because at one end there's a lot of news and pressure on opening up schools. On the other hand, our kids are not vaccinated. My daughter, 13-year-old, my wife is very clear. Unless she is vaccinated, I am not going to send her to this. In this dilemma, sir, where are we standing, sir?
So I'll just update the information you gave me. So till 10 days ago, 33 countries had introduced pediatric immunization. This Monday, last Monday which passed, 44 countries had introduced vaccine for children. And I think this number must have increased as of today. So this number is increasing. So the point you are trying to make is the number of countries who are introducing pediatric vaccination is rapidly increasing, and even many of the low and middle income countries where their overall adult immunization is poor, they have also introduced. Now, I'm part of the WHO panel also, STAGE and SAGE, which has come up with a position paper on pediatric immunization. Children are our most precious asset, and we certainly don't want anything which is inimical to their quality of survival and overall wellness. So one thing which has happened in India is that today, whatever seropositivity we find in children indicate natural infection because none of them have been vaccinated. So you mentioned 60-65% in July. As of today, it appears more than 80% or 85% of children are infected or seropositive. And this also indicates the population positivity for natural infection. So it's a very high proportion. Now, the second important thing is that children practically do not suffer severe disease and hospitalization, and death is extremely uncommon. Out of over almost 450,000 deaths or 4.5 lakh deaths which have occurred, about 12 to 1,500 deaths have occurred in children right from the beginning. So it's a very small number. Now, third thing is that having said that there is a lot of natural infection, the risk of severe disease is very less. Vaccination of children is important because they are a vehicle of transmission. They transmit the infection. They transmit from one child to another child, to one home to other home, and also to their teachers. So that is a thing for which, so that is the most important direct effect, that if we vaccinate, that will become less. The second benefit of vaccination is that some severe disease, it's an extremely rare disease where blood vessels and there are cardiac effects, and which is called multi-system inflammatory disorder in children. Now, this is extremely uncommon, but managed, and mortality is very less, about 1.5 or 2%. But the disease by itself is. So we would like not these precious lives to be lost anyway. And we also do not know long-term effect of natural infection, but our children already, 80-85% children are already affected. Having said that, there are a lot of indirect effects also if children are not immunized. You gave the example of your own daughter that you are not ready to send the child because, and not going to school is a profound effect on the cognitive development, intellectual development, school performance. In fact, in India, it has been seen, UNICEF has done a study that there is a loss of 2 to 4 years because children are not going, particularly from poor and marginalized communities, because schools were not open. So having said that, the government is coming up with a very comprehensive program for children within next 1 or 2 weeks. We have prioritizing a list. Those who have comorbidities will be given the vaccine first, followed by normal children. And at the moment, we have 44 crore children between the age of less than 18 years. And between 12 and 18 years, there are 12 crore children. So we are going to make programs so that we have vaccine is not an issue. There is no shortage of vaccine, and vaccine for children. Covaxin data is available. Covaxin trial was there for 2 years to 18 years. And similarly for Zycobetes for 12 to 15 years. Carbovax, which I was telling, and Covavax is for 5 to 17 years. So vaccine pipeline for children is already available. We are all ready for that. The only thing is that we have to make a well thought out plan so that the children who require first should be given prioritized, and then we immunize the rest of our children. And very soon we are coming out, and by hope that by first quarter of the coming year, we should be able to start vaccination for healthy children also.
Got it, sir. Sir, one last question to you on the booster dose. What's your take on the booster dose, sir? And when particularly WHO recently gave a statement of booster dose is like a scandal, which was quite alarming the way they put it forward. And there are so many conflicting statements. We recently had Dr. Fauci said that booster dose is must for all, as the effect of the initial vaccination would be fading now. So what is your take amongst all the confusion?
So there are three aspects. One is booster. That means you give a third dose after the primary schedule is completed. Second concept is additional dose. That means those individuals who do not develop adequate immune response, and you give one additional third dose. These are two different things. The second dimension is what is the epidemiology of natural infection in India. And Sanjay, I am sure he's very happy when I say this, that there is a huge number of people who are naturally infected. So with this, what is happening in Israel, what is happening in USA or Europe is not important. It's a good information, but ultimately we have to take a decision based on our own reality. As I said, vaccine shortage, vaccine requirement is not there. And that is why WHO has made that comment that it's a scandal. I mean, people, there are two types of immunity, antibodies, and there is invisible immunity, which is called T-cell immunity. And that immunity is, nobody talks about that. So we are again going to come up with a comprehensive policy in next couple of weeks, along with pediatric policy, where there is what are we going to do about additional doses, what are we going to do about boosters, and then the whole issue of pediatric. Here I would like to point out one very important point. For last 4 days, we are all worried about this Omicron, and which is B1.1.529, where more than 70 mutations have occurred simultaneously in the same virus. Now, this particular virus, will it respond to the traditional vaccines, whether it requires an additional vaccine or it requires a different vaccine? Nobody knows about it. And this will come up. So that is why these strong words like scandal is being used, because every time, it means every 6 months, are we going to give vaccines to everybody? So these are larger issues. There are a lot of gaps in the scientific evidence. And as the evidence develops, the whole philosophy of Indian policy making is our people should be protected in the best possible manner. Recent trend, what is showing is that number of cases have come down from 400,000 plus cases on 7th May. It has come down to around 7,000 to 10,000 cases in last 1 week or so. So I think if we follow corona appropriate behavior, get both the currently available, both the doses of the currently available vaccine, that's the best policy.
Thank you, sir. You preempted my question on Omicron, sir. So you mean to say that, sir, the effectiveness of vaccine on this such new variant, the South African variant, it will be studied in due course of time, and there is no clear answer as of now.
Absolutely. The fortunate part is, whatever, there are about 24 or 25 vaccines currently in use in different parts. Some of them are WHO certified, the others are not. But having said that, one common thing in all the vaccines is there is nothing like best vaccine or bad vaccine. All vaccines protect against severe disease, hospitalization, and death almost to the same extent, around 95 to 100%. Now, we also assuming at the moment that that is our best bet. After all, what do we want? The vaccine is modifying the disease, and if we have to continue and protect ourselves, all of us must get our primary 2 shots of the vaccine. And once we get that, and as new information becomes available, whether the current vaccines are effective against this new virus, or we need something else for that, that is fine. But आज जो हमारे पास है उसका सबसे बेहतर प्रयोग करना बहुत जरूरी है.
So sir, आपने 2 डोज की बात की sir, and आपने you said that the child vaccination policy is almost ready. So what is that? How are we going about? Are we coming up with only 1 dose for children, or is it 2 double dose for children?
Very soon you will come to know about it.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Dr. Rai, Dr. Banerjee, sir, any question with Dr.
If you allow, I will ask one question, sir.
So you are ex-colleagues, sir. You can handle amongst yourselves.
No, since
Not
last
colleague, we are friends. We know each other for 3 decades.
yeah. So, and thank you, sir. Overall overview of vaccination program in children. You said that MIS is although it's a very rare phenomenon in children, but that may happen, and it's true. To the best of my understanding and knowledge, MIS is a hyperimmune response which occurs in children after infection, few weeks after the infection. Although COVID is not problem, but in some children it's causing problem. So what will happen if we are inoculating our children, those who are already recovered from the COVID without any symptoms, like in Delhi 90%, and if you are going to inoculate, so theoretically there will be a hyperimmune response. So what will happen to MISC?
So Sanjay, I think this is a question. It's a highly relevant scientific question. I will give it answered little differently. That your question is probably related to that. There is something called vaccine-associated enhanced disease.
Yeah,
that's the question you're asking.
Yeah.
And so far, with all the available vaccines, this vaccine enhancement has not been seen. So it is currently, whatever we know today is in the adult population, it is not associated. For children, that is being monitored, and only time will tell us as we move forward. But at the moment, to me, it appears, speaking biologically and from the available evidence, that vaccine associated enhancement is very unlikely, because the core useless antibodies which one talks about, which is nuclear antibodies and others, they are not very much in the amounts which causes that.
And another one is, you said they can bring infection to the family. Vaccine is really not preventing infection, whatever evidence we have based on this, we can say. So it's not going to work in that way also, vaccine. And second, recently Nature published one study, it's a very high impact journal, and in children, the death is approximately 2 per million, whereas in adult, it's a very high. If you consider the severe adverse event following immunization with all these vaccines, it's around 10 to 15, right? So serious adverse event following immunization, considering all are susceptible. I'm not talking about MISC, etc. So if you do the risk and benefit analysis here, in case of children, I don't think that any additional benefit you are going to gain. And few countries, they have already started vaccination, including US. So you must analyze the US data. What was the impact of vaccination, right? So if you do the risk and benefit analysis in adult, in susceptible population, still it's working. Although there is a reduction in the overall effectiveness of these vaccines, but it still is working. But if you do this in children, risk and benefit analysis, the risk is more, theoretical risk is more than the benefit. So what is your message, sir, on this ground?
we are doing that analysis. We'll come back on that.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. There are a lot of questions which go unanswered. And so, sir, we'll be troubling you for our future sessions. We do this Health for All show, which goes globally on.
एक सर से और थोड़ा सा पूछ लूं सर. Since the last 4-5 months, in India, it's a gradual decline of cases. 5 months, less than 10,000 हम पहुंच गए. यूरोप, ओवरऑल यूरोप में देखें तो 70% के आसपास वैक्सीनेशन हो चुका है, बट इट्स ए इंक्रीजिंग ऑफ द केसेस. सो क्या मतलब क्या इससे मैसेज मिलता है हमें, मतलब रियली इफ वैक्सीनेशन इज प्लेइंग मेन रोल?
No, I will give that answer because that issue has been analyzed, and this has been analyzed as of 23rd of November.
Okay.
And I had a discussion with Soumya Swaminathan also on this. So almost all the cases are occurring in partially immunized and unimmunized population. And roughly 40% of their population is unimmunized. And the breakthrough infections do occur, but severe infections are all in unimmunized and deaths. So you know that most of the European countries are having 30, 40, 50,000. US has again gone into more than 100,000. Another important point I think, Sanjay, you are wanting to say and ask is that what about the natural infection? I think our country has faced much more frequently the natural infection, which is also providing us the protection. So we have a double barrel protection for us, natural infection and on top of that vaccine.
चलिए ठीक है सर, डिस्कस लेटर.
ये चर्चा जारी रहेगी सर. We do this show every Sunday 8 to 11 a.m. Goes globally on YouTube and Facebook Live, as well as a lot of other social media and covered by media across the country, sir. So thank you so much, sir. Thank you, Dr. Arora, sir. We'll continue with that. Thank you for coming on this show, sir.
My pleasure. I am so honored. Thank you.
Thank you. Good day, sir. Have a nice day. Thank you. Sir, over to Shankar sir and Kishore ji for the last set of questions. With Dr. Rai has a lot of observation and comments, I'm sure. Dr. Banerjee also has a lot of observation and comments. So I give the floor to them. Shankar sir and Kishore ji, over to you, sir.
Thank you, Sudeep. But before we move on to the two eminent doctors, we have a small quiz coming up. The second quiz, because we have jumbled the program, so I request the second quiz to be played. Second quiz is, which of the following is true regarding vaccines? Vaccines are effective in protecting people against harmful diseases before they come into contact with them. A vaccine ensures 100% protection against the disease. C, it is okay to skip some vaccines for kids. D, none of the above. Again, a controversial questions. So do key in your answers.
Even I'm not aware.
Yeah, and now we move on to the session, continuing the session with Dr. Amitabh Banerjee and Dr. Sudeep Srivastava. Now, I'll start off with Dr. Amitabh Banerjee because I think Dr. Rai had his full cup of questions. And so, Dr. Banerjee, in the earlier programs on HEAL, you had said that India will soon achieve, at least quoting the Dharavi example, that we will achieve herd immunity. So where are we now, especially since we have statements saying that we have a lot of natural immunity? So what's your take on that?
We have achieved herd immunity, and we should now, I mean, we are forgetting of public health. I mean, if you see the data also, we are having very low mortality in a country of our size. Our mortality is less than UK. UK is 6 crore, we have 130 crore. Even, Dr. Arora was saying they have got unvaccinated. We have got unvaccinated more. I mean, absolute numbers of unvaccinated maybe 10 times than UK and USA because of a large year. And still we are getting less numbers. So, whereas we are very concerned of children dying of COVID, but every day we are losing 2,000 children from preventable diseases. So, we are forgetting the public health. I mean, with so much vaccine of COVID vaccine for children where there is no mortality and there are mortality from other preventable diseases, we are forgetting of public health in a chase for COVID. We have got herd immunity for COVID, but we have got other challenges like dengue, diarrhea, other respiratory infections in children, which are killing. We have got the worst malnutrition rate in the world. If you have a nourished child, he will not die of COVID. As it is, he is not dying of COVID, but he is dying of diarrhea, he is dying of other infections. So if we tackle a malnutrition, and after the lockdown and more restrictive measures, Omicron is coming, we are already thinking of lockdowns again. Children not going to school, they are suffering from malnutrition because most of the children get the midday school meal. So we are causing more child morbidity and mortality. I mean, we are not practicing public health. We have forgotten public health.
Quite a controversial statement. Okay, Dr. Rai, you had mentioned in your conversation with Dr. Arora that the numbers in India are coming down. Is it also partially because many states have disbanded what they call the COVID warriors and the testing has come down drastically? Certain states, the testing is really down.
No, it's see, even more than 10 lakh testing per day is not a very less testing. Dr. Banerjee has already replied to this question that it's because of the herd immunity. So we are very close to herd immunity, and in major cities like Delhi, we have already achieved.
Oh, that's wonderful. Over to you, Kishore. Please unmute, Kishore. Unmute.
डॉक्टर राय, एक सवाल थोड़ा पॉलिटिकल है, पॉलिटिकल है, मेडिकल टेक्नोलॉजी से अलग है। ये जो नामकरण करते हैं, पहले नू किया, जी किया, उसके बाद चाइना ने विरोध किया, तो उसके बाद ये नए नाम पे आ गए। ये क्या है? एक तो हमने जो पढ़ा है उसके हिसाब से ये ग्रीक अल्फाबेट से लेकर ये नाम रखते हैं। ये क्या है? कन्वेंशन क्या है?
देखिए, जहां तक चाइना ने विरोध किया तो चाइना ज्यादा ताकतवर है, और जो भी ताकतवर होता है उसकी बात मानी जाती है। कहीं भी ये सत्य है, हम उसको इग्नोर करते रहे वो एक अलग बात है। ठीक है, तो वो ये है। अब ये इसकी जो है डॉक्टर बनर्जी इस पे शायद और प्रकाश डालेंगे, बट एक कहीं से भी या तो ओरिजिन से रिलेटेड, नेम से रिलेटेड, या जो है लोगों को जो है उसको अवेयरनेस क्रिएट करने के लिए तो कई इश्यूज को डिस्कस किया जाता है। एग्जैक्ट प्रोसेस क्या है मैं कभी इन्वॉल्व नहीं रहा हूं, तो इसलिए जो है मुझे बताना मुश्किल होगा। बट यूजुअली इन सब को कंसीडर करते हैं कि जहां से या तो ओरिजिन हुआ हो, ईयर हुआ हो, समथिंग लाइक दैट, तो इन सब को इंक्लूड करते हैं। बट डॉक्टर बनर्जी, इफ ही हैज सम नॉलेज ऑन दिस एस्पेक्ट, सो ही कैन रिप्लाई। हाँ सर, आप कुछ बता सकते हैं?
I don't have any knowledge. All humans are same, all viruses are same. This cross-border boundaries are dividing the world and creating conflict. So that is, I think, हम सब एक है।
ठीक है यार। किशोर जी,
डॉक्टर बैनर्जी, आपने डॉक्टर एन के अरोड़ा को सुना, और इस बहस में ये बात भी आ रही है कि बच्चों को अब टीका लगाने, वैक्सीन लगाने की जरूरत है, और हमारे पास उपलब्ध भी है। 2 साल से 18 साल के लोगों के लिए, बच्चों के लिए वैक्सीन उपलब्ध भी है। क्यों देरी हो रही है? आपको लगता है कि ये देरी सही नहीं है?
नहीं, जल्दी हो रही है। मेरे मत से तो ये जल्दी हो रही है। बच्चे को जरूरत नहीं है। वजह यह है कि ऑलरेडी 80% बच्चे को नेचुरल इम्यूनिटी है, और स्वीडन से डेटा है, बच्चे ट्रांसमिट भी नहीं करते। देयर आर पब्लिश डेटा ऑन दिस। तो ये जल्दी हो रही है, देरी नहीं हो रही है। और मेरे हिसाब से बच्चे को तो, क्योंकि प्रॉब्लम यह है कि ये अभी भी ट्रायल मोड में है, और अभी अगर एल्डरली को हम वैक्सीन देते हो, अगर 5 साल बाद कुछ साइड इफेक्ट होता, 2 साल बाद होता, उसका कुछ क्वालिटी ऑफ लाइफ ऑलरेडी ही हैज लिव्ड हिज लाइफ। पर अगर बच्चे को, यंग बच्चा है, अगर 2 साल बाद, 3 साल बाद, वी डोंट नो द लॉन्ग टर्म एडवर्स इफेक्ट्स फर्स्टली। सेकेंडली, शॉर्ट टर्म में भी डॉक्टर संजय राय ने बोला कि मोर्टेलिटी इज 2 per million, बट द साइड इफेक्ट्स डेथ में भी 10 per million। So cost benefit बच्चों में तो scientifically as on today I am very strong, child vaccination is not indicated.
नहीं, और ये डर, जी सर, जी बोलिए।
अच्छा, मैं बस 100% में डॉक्टर बनर्जी से सहमत हूँ। सी, कभी भी मैं वैक्सीन हम क्यों लगाते हैं या कोई भी इंटरवेंशन क्यों करते हैं, उसका एक क्लियर कट ऑब्जेक्टिव होता है कि या तो डिजीज को प्रिवेंट करें या सीवियरिटी और डेथ को प्रिवेंट करें। डिजीज प्रिवेंट करने में इसका कोई रोल नहीं रहा है, ये हमें पता है। सीवियरिटी एंड डेथ बच्चों में नहीं है, तो फिर बच्चों को देने से जो है एडिशन, ये कंसीडर करते हुए कि सारे बच्चों को अभी इन्फेक्शन नहीं हुआ तो भी देने से कोई बेनिफिट नहीं है। अगर मैं ये आज कंसीडर करूं कि हमारे बच्चों को अभी तक इन्फेक्शन हुआ है, 0% इन्फेक्ट बच्चे हुए हैं, तो भी उनको देने से कोई एडिशनल बेनिफिट नहीं है, क्योंकि 2 पर मिलियन डेथ्स रिपोर्टेड हैं बच्चों में। वैक्सीन एसोसिएटेड सीवियरिटी जो है 10 to 15 है, चाहे वो कार्डियक इन्फ्लेमेटरी डिजीज हो। आप देखिए मैसेंजर आरएनए फाइजर मॉडर्ना ने अपने लिफलेट पे लिखना शुरू कर दिया कि कार्डियक इन्फ्लेमेटरी डिजीज कर सकता है, पेरिकार्डाइटिस कर सकता है, जिससे 50% में डेथ होने की संभावना होती है। ब्लड क्लॉटिंग, ये जितने वेक्टर बॉर्न हमारे ये हैं, चाहे स्पुतनिक हो या ये वेक्टर जो है वो इस प्लेटफॉर्म जो यूज कर रहे हैं, उनसे जो है क्लॉटिंग हो सकता है। ऑल्दो इससे रेयर, दोनों ही रेयर फिनोमिना है, बट रेयर यहाँ पे बच्चों में जब मैं देखता हूं तो रेयर हुआ जो है ज्यादा हो जाता है। एडल्ट में अगर मैं रेयर की बात करूं तो ये 10 से 15 बहुत ही रेयर है, क्योंकि वहां डेथ रेट ज्यादा है, स्पेशली 45 ईयर्स एंड एबव को अगर आप देखो तो वहां हम अभी जस्टिफाई कर सकते थे ओरिजिनल वन वायरस के साथ। अभी तो इतना कम हो गया है कि नहीं पता। सेकेंड, हमारे बच्चे ऑलरेडी इन्फेक्ट हो चुके हैं, और थ्योरेटिकली जो है मैं अगर बात करूं जहां की बात है कि उनको जो प्रॉब्लम है MISC से कि इन्फेक्शन होने पे तो उनको कुछ नहीं होता, कुछ दिनों बाद हाइपर इम्यून रिस्पांस के कारण मल्टी सिस्टम इन्फ्लेमेटरी सिंड्रोम होता है। वह जो है हाइपर इम्यून रिस्पांस है, मतलब एंटीबॉडीज लेवल अचानक बढ़ जाता है। जब हम वैक्सीन उनको देंगे कभी भी, सारी ये मतलब बेसिक अंडरस्टैंडिंग है कि एक बार आपको एक्सपोजर हो गया, इन्फेक्शन हो गया, और अगर आप वैक्सीन दे रहे हैं तो हाइपर इम्यून रिस्पांस होगा, मतलब एंटीबॉडी लेवल बहुत बढ़ेगा। क्या होगा पता नहीं, अननेसेसरली कोई रिस्क नहीं है, बट जानबूझ के हम एक रिस्क पे, 2 तरीके से रिस्क हो सकता है। एक तो उसके कारण से हो सकता है, मेरा एजम्पशन है कि वह जो है मॉर्टेलिटी इंक्रीज होगी, डिक्रीज नहीं होगा बच्चों में, ये है, ठीक है। और आप देख लें यूएस का डेटा जो है, यूएस ये हम कह के देना चाहते हैं कि यूएस में बच्चों में बढ़ गया। जब भी वैक्सीनेशन प्रोग्राम लॉन्च करें, मैं डॉक्टर अरोड़ा से पूछने वाला था, बोल गया कि आप ये कम से कम उसके पहले ये बता दीजिए कि बच्चों में सीवियरिटी कितनी है, वैक्सीन से इस समय कितनी एग्जिस्टिंग कितनी है। जब सेकेंड वेव में 90% हमारे बच्चे इन्फेक्ट हो गए और हमें पता भी नहीं चला, तो हमें अब जो है कि सीवियरिटी ज्यादा बढ़ जाएगी, नहीं आइडिया है। सो सीवियरिटी कितनी है, वैक्सीन से हम कितना उम्मीद करते हैं कि उसमें सीवियरिटी कम करेंगे, और इसको कैसे मॉनिटर करेंगे। ये बेसिक प्रिंसिपल होता है किसी भी इंटरवेंशन का, जो हमें करना चाहिए बिफोर लॉन्चिंग एनी वैक्सीनेशन प्रोग्राम इन फॉर एनी ग्रुप।
ये बात सही है। जी
एक पॉइंट मैं ऐड करूंगा, जो अभी तक जो एविडेंस है, स्ट्रॉन्ग एविडेंस है इतने साल में, बिलो 18 इयर्स इन्फेक्शन फेटेलिटी रेट, अगर किसी को बच्चा कोविड कैच करता है तो इसका इन्फेक्शन सर्वाइवल इज 99.9973। अगर इतना रेयर आउटकम है तो कोई भी वैक्सीन या कोई भी इंटरवेंशन को हम स्टैटिस्टिकली इवेलुएट नहीं कर सकते हैं, क्योंकि वैक्सीन कहेगा 90% बचाता है, पर नेचुरल इन्फेक्शन 99.9973 बचा रहा है। तो हाउ कैन एनी वैक्सीन बी बेटर देन 99? आई मीन इट्स अ सिंपल लॉजिक, सिंपल अरिथमेटिक। तो ये अभी तक मैं कईयों को पूछ चुका हूँ, इसका किसी ने जवाब नहीं दिया। खाली फियर एंड पैनिक से ये स्कूल बंद रखे हैं, कॉलेज बंद रखे हैं, पेरेंट्स में डर आ गया, तो वो सोचते हैं वैक्सीन इज अ सेवियर, बट अदरवाइज नेचुरल इन्फेक्शन का सर्वाइवल इज 99.997।
डॉक्टर साहब, ये बात सही है जो आंकड़े बताते हैं कि बच्चों में इन्फेक्शन कम है और सीवियरिटी भी कम है, नहीं है। लेकिन एक बात ये भी है कि आप जानते हैं, जैसा कि बांग्ला में कहावत है, जेखाने बाघेर होए शेखाने रात्रि होए। अभी स्कूल खुल गए हैं, लोग, बच्चे स्कूल जा रहे हैं और बच्चे निश्चिंत हो गए हैं, परिवार निश्चिंत हो गए। और ये जो वायरस है बड़ा नौटंकीबाज है, कब ये रूप बदल लेता है, कब ये बच्चों पे आक्रमण कर सकता है, ये कोई नहीं जानता है। तो हमें प्रिवेंशन की तैयारी तो रखनी होगी।
नहीं तो खाली कोविड ही थोड़ी है, वी आर एक्सपोज टू सो मेनी मोर सीवियर। अगर डेंगू देखेंगे उसका 10% मोर्टेलिटी है, तो डेंगू मच्छर काटते हैं बच्चे को डे टाइम में, हम स्कूल का 12 महीने बंद रखेंगे क्या? और डेंगू के मच्छर को हम सोशल डिस्टेंसिंग भी नहीं बोल सकते। तो ये तो इट इज अ रिस्क, लाइक लाइफ इज फुल ऑफ रिस्क, एंड दिस इज द लोएस्ट रिस्क अमंग ऑल कम्युनिकेबल डिजीज इन इंडिया। COVID-19 इज द लीस्ट रिस्क ऑफ डेथ ऑल एज ग्रुप। आप कोई भी कम्युनिकेबल डिजीज का मोर्टेलिटी रेट देख लीजिएगा। तो ये बिकॉज द वेस्टर्न कंट्रीज के लिए यही कम्युनिकेबल डिजीज है, दे हैव रेज्ड द लेवल, एंड दे हैव गॉट वेरी एल्डरली पॉपुलेशन। नर्सिंग होम में डेथ्स होते हैं, 80 इयर्स एवरेज एज है डेथ का उनका। हमारे में ऐसा नहीं है, हमारे में वी हैव गॉट अदर कम्युनिकेबल डिजीज, एंड दैट्स व्हाई आई सेड द पब्लिक हेल्थ इज बैलेंसिंग ओवरऑल मोर्टेलिटी, नॉट ओनली वन डिजीज मोर्टेलिटी। ये जो स्पेशलिस्ट है ये टनल विजन हो रहा, हमको टनल विजन हो रहा. वी आर जस्ट चेजिंग वन डिजीज एंड वी आर नेग्लेक्टिंग overall deaths in children and all age groups will increase in the coming years because of malnutrition and other diseases which have been neglected. 40% TB detection कम हो गया. TB का mortality even after treatment is 5 to 10%. Even after treatment mortality is 10%. इसका without treatment इसका mortality is less than 0.05%. So इसको ये figures को हमको बताना चाहिए. Fear तभी जाएगा.
और किशोर जी इसमें मैं ऐड कर दूं, आपने कहा कि फियर है, रियली पेरेंट्स में फियर है, फियर क्रिएट किया गया है. स्कूल बंद थे और फिर उसके बाद भी दिल्ली का देखिए सब कुछ बंद. दिल्ली ही एक ऐसा स्टेट था जिसने कभी स्कूल नहीं खोला और फिर भी 90% लोग बच्चों को इन्फेक्शन हो गया. तो इन्फेक्शन हमने कहाँ प्रिवेंट कर लिया कि स्कूल खोलने से इन्फेक्शन हो जाएगा. जब 90% हमारे बच्चे इन्फेक्ट हो चुके हैं तो इसका तो कोई लॉजिक ही नहीं बनता. अगर कम भी होता, बाकी स्टेट खोलते रहे, बीच में बंद करते रहे, दिल्ली ने कभी नहीं खोला तो और उसके बाद भी इतना इन्फेक्शन हो गया. तो अगर मैं देखूं कि जहां पे स्कूल खुले हुए थे वहां इनसे कम इन्फेक्शन रेट है, ठीक है, तो कोई कंक्लूजन नहीं ड्रा किया जा सकता. ये कंप्लीटली जो है साइंस पे आधारित नहीं है कि उससे जो है इन्फेक्शन नहीं होगा. इन्फेक्शन हो गया, ऑलरेडी हो चुका है. ये जो है सिर्फ पैनिक क्रिएट करने के लिए वेस्टेड इंटरेस्ट में जो है किया जाता है कि उससे जो है डिमांड बढ़ेगी. पेरेंट जब भी पैनिक क्रिएट होगा कोई एविडेंस, साइंटिफिक एविडेंस नहीं है ये पैनिक क्रिएट करने का, स्पेशली बच्चों में. मैंने भी बहुत से पार्टिसिपेट किया हुआ है. ये जो है हमारा काम नहीं है, हम एजेंट नहीं है, हम पब्लिक हेल्थ स्पेशलिस्ट हैं और हमारा काम है कि रिस्क कहाँ है, बेनिफिट कितना है उसको बताना. ये नहीं कि मेरा काम नहीं है कि वैक्सीन को बिकवाना है, ये मैं नहीं कर सकता. किसको जरूरत है मैं बोलता हूं कि हाँ इन लोग जरूरत है. मैं 50 से ज्यादा शो में बोल चुका हूं कि इनको जरूरत है, नहीं जरूरत है. बट ये नहीं कि वैक्सीन हेजिटेंसी क्रिएट होगी और ये क्यों बच्चों को चाहिए. अगर वैक्सीन प्रोबेबिलिटी है कि वो इंक्रीज करेगा, डिक्रीज कर ही नहीं सकता क्योंकि मॉर्टेलिटी है ही नहीं, तो क्यों चाहिए. एक भी साइंटिफिक एविडेंस मुझे बता दें कि बच्चों में बेनिफिट है. 5 महीने से दे रहे हैं. अगर बेनिफिट हुआ होता तो सारा डेटा अभी तक रिलीज कर दिए होते. यूएस में आप देख लीजिए, यूएस में मॉर्टेलिटी इंक्रीज हुई है, डिक्रीज नहीं हुई है, क्योंकि वैक्सीन एसोसिएटेड होगा. बच्चों में कोविड से तो प्रॉब्लम नहीं है, बिकॉज ऑफ वैक्सीन एसोसिएटेड प्रॉब्लम उसमें होगा. और वो तो अभी जो नोन प्रॉब्लम है, अननोन तो हमें पता ही नहीं लॉन्ग टर्म क्या हो सकता है. किसी भी ड्रग का हो सकता है. बहुत सी ड्रग हमने इंट्रोड्यूस की है, वापस किया. थैलेडामाइड उसका एग्जाम्पल है. प्रेगनेंसी में हम देते थे थैलेडामाइड उल्टी कम करने के लिए कि बहुत ही अच्छी ड्रग है, वंडर ड्रग है, उल्टी नहीं होती है. क्या हुआ उससे कि बहुत ही सेफ ड्रग है. ये जितने क्लिप पैलेट आते थे या अपाहिज बच्चे पैदा हुए तब हमें पता चला कि अच्छा उस ड्रग ने ये कमाल कर दिया. ये एक नॉर्मल फिनोमेना था जिसको रोकने के लिए हमने उल्टी को रोकने के लिए एक ड्रग दिया और इतने बच्चों को अपाहिज पैदा कर दिया. तो वह जो है फिर उसको रिकॉल किया गया. तो ये सब होता रहता है. एज ए साइंटिस्ट ये हम लोगों की जिम्मेवारी, एज ए डॉक्टर ये मॉरल रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी है कि साइंस को प्रोपोगेट करें, सिर्फ जो है बिजनेस को प्रोपोगेट ना होने दें.
थैंक यू डॉक्टर संजय राय. थैंक यू डॉक्टर अमिताभ बनर्जी, इतनी अच्छी बातें हमें बताने के लिए. ओवर टू यू मिस्टर शंकर.
Thank you, Kishore. I think the bottom line is that Dr. Swadeep Srivastav can safely send his daughter to school. We have assurance from top doctors now. That's the bottom line. Thank you very much. Now we move on to the next quiz.